Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something pretty different today.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
We're looking at this book called Hydrocephalus Astrology, Navigating the Stars and Healing Waters.
Okay.
And it's all about, you know,
Astrology.
astrology and how it could maybe, possibly, play a part in managing hydrocephalus.
Huh. That's a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in looking at the stars actually help someone dealing with hydrocephalus. That's what we're going to try and figure out.
All right, let's get into it. I'm curious how the book even approaches this. Like, where do you even begin to connect astrology and a medical condition like that?
Well, from what I've read, it starts pretty basic with, some astrology 101,
Makes sense.
talking about stuff like,
Natal charts,
yeah, exactly, natal charts.
planetary alignments.
Right, right. All those terms some people might be familiar with, some people might not. But it's kind of laying that foundation before it gets into the hydrocephalus connection.
So how does it actually make that connection then between like your birth chart and hydrocephalus symptoms?
That's where it gets really interesting. They talk about how, say you have a certain moon sign,
Okay.
like let's say your moon is in Cancer.
Uh-huh.
They suggest that might make you more prone to getting headaches when you're stressed out.
Interesting.
Whereas if your moon's in Aries, maybe your headaches come more from like pent up energy.
Ah, so it's trying to find these correlations between, where the planets were when you were born and how your hydrocephalus might specifically affect you.
Exactly. It's not just about, oh, I'm a Leo. So, you
Yeah.
know, it's way more nuanced than that.
Makes sense. So it's like using astrology for personalized insight into your condition.
Yeah. And the book even gives you these tools to help you do that.
Tools. Like what?
Well, they have like worksheets to figure out your natal chart
Mm.
and these transit trackers to see how the planets are moving and how that might be affecting you.
Oh, wow. So you could actually track, say, your Jupiter transits and see if that correlates with any changes in your symptoms. Hmm.
Right. Or maybe you notice that whenever Saturn's in a certain position, your stress levels go way up.
And that could be a trigger for, headaches or other issues.
Exactly. So it's about being proactive and maybe even getting ahead of those symptoms.
That's pretty cool. But it's not just staring at the sky and waiting for something to happen, right?
No, definitely not. In fact, the book is really big on taking a holistic approach.
Okay.
Like they talk a lot about things like meditation,
Sure, yeah.
herbal remedies,
Yeah.
and mind-body exercises, all that good stuff.
So it's combining the astrological insight with practical lifestyle changes.
Right. And they even get specific about what to try. Like for calming the nervous system, they suggest this meditation called Yoga Nidra.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. And for inflammation, they mention skullcap, which is an herb.
Interesting. I'm not too familiar with that one.
Yeah. And for energy flow, they talk about Qigong.
Oh, yeah, that combines movement and meditation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like taking all this ancient wisdom and these more modern practices and putting them together in a way that can hopefully help people.
It definitely sounds like a unique approach, but I mean, let's be real. Some people are probably going to be pretty skeptical about all this.
Oh, for sure. Like,
Sure.
how much can astrology really tell us about a complex medical condition?
Right. But what I thought was interesting was that the book actually has input from both medical experts and professional astrologers.
Oh, that's a good point. It's not just coming from, like, one side of the fence.
Yeah, so it's trying to be balanced and consider both the scientific and the astrological perspectives.
Which is definitely reassuring, especially if you're new to this whole astrology thing.
For sure. At the end of the day, it seems like what this book is really trying to do is empower people with hydrocephalus to take control of their well-being.
Yeah, to be active participants in their own healing journey.
Exactly. Using whatever tools and knowledge they can, whether that's modern medicine or ancient wisdom.
Well said. And I think that's a good place to wrap up our deep dive today. We've just scratched the surface of what hydrocephalus astrology has to offer,
There's a lot to unpack there.
for sure. But it definitely leaves us with a lot to think about.
Like whether astrology can actually play a role in managing hydrocephalus.
Yeah. And if understanding your astrological blueprint could lead to new possibilities for healing and well-being.
I guess the only way to really know is to dive in and explore it for yourself.
Exactly. So if you're curious, I highly encourage you to check out the book. It's a fascinating read, even if you're just a little bit intrigued by the idea.
Definitely worth exploring. Thanks for taking us on this deep dive.
Of course, always happy to explore new territory. See you all next time.
See you then.